Hi, I'm Mike Bellevue, and I write for a variety of magazines, including Rifle Firepower. And we're out here today at the range with my AR-15. And I've got to confess, I'm not really an AR-15 guy. When I was in ROTC, I trained mostly with M14s and then with M16s. And as luck would have it, the Vietnam War actually ended while I was still in ROTC before I graduated. So I never had to use an M16 in combat. So I never really bonded with these things as a fighting man. And I've always preferred .308 caliber battle rifles. But this year, 2013, with all the pressure of trying to pass new gun laws and confiscate guns and make assault weapons illegal and all that sort of stuff, I decided if they're going to take away my right to own one of these, I'm going to get one while the getting's good. And that's what I did, and I'll tell you a little bit about it, and then we'll just have a little fun on the range with it. This winter, when I decided finally to get an AR-15, you just couldn't find them anywhere. Everybody and his brother decided the same thing I did, and they just disappeared. And those that you could find were ridiculously expensive. So I had to take another approach, and that was basically to put one together off of components that I could buy off of auction sites. Components were really hard to get too. I started with this lower, and of course the lower is officially the firearm, so this is what you need an FFL dealer for. This is a polymer lower. It's pretty much all I could find around at the time, and I really didn't know much about them. But I'm not unhappy that I got it. I got it for a pretty decent price, even for the time. You can get them for a little bit less than I paid for them now. But with just a couple of notable exceptions, I like it fine. It came complete with the buttstock. And this is a 4-position buttstock. I know a lot of people these days prefer the 6-position, but this 4-position fits me just right. But there are a couple of things that I weren't that crazy about on this, and I'll explain them to you. Well, this lower is made by New Frontier Armory. It's made here in the United States in Las Vegas, which is all good. And when we say polymer, let's be honest, we're saying plastic. And this is all plastic. The only thing on this that wasn't plastic were the pins. And by and large, that's okay. I mean, this is pretty well made. Magazines fit great. Magazine release works fantastic. Bolt release, no problem. Buttstock works fine. But there are some parts that I think should not be plastic in a gun, and we'll talk about those now. I don't think everything should be made of plastic, and particularly I am not crazy about having your sear and hammer both made out of plastic, and these parts are both plastic. I just don't think that that's going to wear well over time, and in fact the trigger pull was really rough and gritty and very heavy, as I'll show you in a second. And this trigger has really a bad trigger pull. So you can see the bolt is open. I'm just going to close it. I'm going to reach around there and do it. And we'll just show you what the trigger pull, we'll just show you what the trigger pull is on this. I'm going to use my RCBS trigger pull scale. Just pop it on. Okay, this is not easy to do in these tight quarters with the lights and everything, but as you can see, it's just about 8 pounds of trigger pull, and it is very creepy and gritty, and it just really impacts my ability to break the shot on target. So I decided to ditch the plastic and put in one of these Timney triggers with a 3-pound pull. So as I said, if you're going to put in one of these Timney triggers, the only real trick you need to know is that you're going to need this special plate, and it does not come with the trigger when you order it. This plate is required for a polymer lower. And the only way you can get it is to either call or email Timney customer service, and they'll send you one out for free. And I'm going to give you the number and the email address on the screen in just a minute. But my recommendation is, if you're going to put a Timney trigger and a polymer receiver, when you order it from whoever, Brownells, Cheaper Than Dirt, Midway, you know, wherever Timney itself, wherever you're going to get it,
as soon as you place that order, just give Timney a call at the number I'm going to give you and ask for the special plate for polymer receiver, which works like a charm. And the reason you need it is because, I don't know how well I can show you, but right on each side here, if you see those little spots, those are a pair of set screws that go down and they bear against the bottom of the bottom of the receiver here, and they put pressure, up pressure on the trigger assembly, and that kind of locks those pins in place because of that up pressure, and it keeps everything from moving around. Well, if you don't have this special plate, when you screw those screws down against that polymer receiver and you tighten them up, you're just going to drill them right through that receiver bottom. And believe me, you will. So this is very handy to have. Now, as I said, I also had not liked these to save the safety and the detent pin being made out of plastic. I think that's too easy. You can see I can bend it in my hand. Don't like that. So I got a detent pin. I think this is made out of beryllium, but regardless, you can get them stainless steel, all sorts of things. And then I've got an actual Colt official M16 part to use as a safety. You know, this is forged and machined, and I just feel a lot better for those critical parts. So I'm just going to put these back in and put the hand grip on, and we'll be good to go.
Here's the contact information for Timney customer service.
Well, I've got the safety installed now, and the Timney trigger's in. I've got this little piece of leather here just to pad a hammer fall, but we'll just set the hammer, and I'll grab a trigger scale, and let's just see what we're getting now that we've got the new trigger in. And the answer is 3.5 pounds, which is perfect. Exactly what I was looking for.
For the upper, I chose this unit from Palmetto State Armory in South Carolina. It's made right here in America. It's got a 16-inch barrel, which is chromoly vanadium steel. It's got a 1 in 7 twist rate. The bore is chrome lined, and it's got an A2 flash hider on it. It's got a forged upper receiver, and it's really excellent. I've installed some diamond head flip-up sights on it. BSA AR-15 tactical 4-power scope on quick detachable mounts, and I really like this free-floating rail, and we'll just show you a little bit more about that.
One of the reasons why I chose this configuration is because I really like this Midwest Industries floating rail, and I've used a similar configuration on some other guns, and it's really worked out well. It's got this short gas block, so you don't need to have a sight column anywhere on here. The rail goes right over it, and it's got the full rail on top, which means I can add these flip-up sights like these from Diamond Head, which are outstanding. And they get right out of the way. I can put an optic on. I've got this scope on with quick detachable mounts, so I can pop up the Diamond Head rear sight if I need it. But this rail is smooth, unlike quad rails that kind of rip up your hands, but it has all of these attachment points. And what you can do with these attachment points are screw on these little Picatinny rail sections. And as you can see, I did that right here, and I've got a quick detachable sling swivel, and I could put on, you know, vertical hand piece the same way, or lights or lasers or most anything. Alright, so they send you a bunch of these, and they're easy to pick up. That is the upper, and we'll just put her together and take them out and go do some shooting. Well, Evil Roy is lurking 50 yards downrange, so let's take the AR and see if we can make them dance. got some water jugs set up 50 yards downrange, and let's see if we can plink them down with the AR-15. That is always fun. Well, let's try the AR on some clay birds. Well, I've got a melon set up down on the blue barrel, so let's see what effect this 5.56 NATO will have on a honeydew melon. Making fruit salad.
Let's finish up with the bad guy's view of the AR-15.